Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a handwoven experience, but not any old handwoven experience. This is a handwoven interview. See, I love connecting with weavers that do different things than I do, that specialize in different corners of the weaving world. So I've been pondering the idea of doing an interview series, and I am delighted to bring you my very first guest. Ellen Grenier-Bevill is a dear friend of mine, and she's my go-to person. If I don't know something, Ellen does for sure. So I took a moment and spent some time with Ellen, and I'm so excited to present to you our fun little interview so that you can know Ellen as well, because believe me, she's a great weaver to know. So I hope you enjoy this very first interview in a handwoven interview with Ellen Grenier-Bevill. Well, welcome, Ellen. I'm so glad you're here. I thought we would kind of kick things off by letting everybody know a little bit about your background. What got you into weaving? How did you become a weaver? It's pretty random, so lay it on us.
Well, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Ellen Grenier-Bevill, and I live in Morris, Illinois. And I learned to weave almost 30 years ago. So I was already in my mid 40s.
Wow.
When I learned to weave. And, and I found I was living in Houston, found the Contemporary Hand Weavers of Houston at the annual livestock show and rodeo of all places.
No kidding. Livestock show. Really?
Livestock show. So they were in the middle of the sheep pen. Spinning and weaving.
That's awesome.
And it started with my love of spinning wheels. I love the aesthetic of a spinning wheel. So I joined them, and I was in the guild and a study group for a year before I ever touched a loom.
No kidding.
A spinning wheel. No kidding.
Just took your time easing in.
I just was learning by osmosis, just taking it all in and listening and becoming more and more enamored with what they were doing. I will preface that by saying I've always done fiber art of some sort, whether it be knitting or spinning or lots and lots of embroidery. So, all that.
But, I love some embroidery. Yeah.
Yeah, lots and lots of embroidery.
It's a great gateway drug, just to lead you right in. Right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But anyway, one of the women there took me under her wing and showed me how to wind a warp and put it on her table loom so that I could jump right in with an 8-harness twill workshop.
Hello.
Which was a round robin. So that meant I get to try lots and lots and lots of looms, which I knew
Ellen,
which ones I loved.
Project?
This is my first project.
Oh, Ellen, wow.
So I got to, and I saw, I'm going one threading and I can do all this. Oh my gosh. So my son ended up with a black and white 8-foot scarf out of it and 5/2 cotton.
That's awesome.
And that was my starting point. And realizing how many possibilities there were for color and pattern and texture. And I mean, I became a workshop junkie. I took every workshop that came along. In the meantime, my ex-husband had built my 8-harness countermarch loom.
Love it. I love it. That's awesome.
And I've been blowing and going since then. Of course, I've, various moves and corporate world and life got in the way. And my last corporate job, I couldn't weave for 3 years because it was 24/7.
What? No, that's not good.
No. It was, talk about stifling your creativity and what you love to do. But when I kicked corporate out of my life 9-10 years ago, I hit the loom running and have not quit.
No, and that is for sure. Okay, I can vouch for you for sure. Ellen is one of the hardest working weavers I know, without a doubt. So I love the fact that you mentioned the whole being a workshop junkie, because every time I turn around, Ellen's like, "Oh, I've signed up for this and for this and for this." So tell us, what was the last workshop that you took? What was your last one?
Friday, I took a workshop on sashiko, which is embroidery.
Just last Friday. Oh, okay.
This last Friday.
I
Before
love
that, a couple weeks ago, it was crimp cloth,
Oh, how cool.
and it was
Oh,
really
that was
cool.
awesome.
It
That
was
is
really,
awesome.
really
I think
cool.
that's one of the amazing things about you, Ellen, is that I always think if I don't know it, Ellen will. Like I figure you're like about the best, like well-versed weaver, fiber artist, honestly, that I know. So I'm always curious to see what you're learning at your latest workshop or class. Or yeah, I love that. Do you have other things coming up that you're going to be diving into?
Right now, just some custom orders that I'm doing,
Nice. Oh
doing
yeah.
some,
Yeah. Tell folks about what kind of, because you have your own business these days. Tell
yes.
folks about kind of what is your style, what is your business, so a little bit more about that.
Okay. Well, when I started weaving, of course, towels and placemats, those were kind of the go-to thing,
Understandable.
And I don't like working with wool, so I use no wool in anything I do, because I find it makes especially a wearable or a scarf, more versatile. You can wear it year round. So
Yep.
I love the combination of tencel and silk, bamboo, that kind of thing can be just as warm and cozy as it can be cool. So my love is actually wearables and fashion accessories. So
I love that. That's part of the reason we work well together, because we're like polar opposites, because I don't do any wearables and Ellen only does wearables. So that's perfect. We're a perfect pair. All right. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That's okay. So, and I love working with painted warps, and I support other women in the States that paint the warps, because I'm not a dyer. I know that from early on. And so, and I have no room for dyeing.
Yes, as you'll notice Ellen's shelves behind her. Ellen, yeah, exactly.
and my tower of painted warps. So awesome. I always have what I need to do a project. This whole year I've been working with nothing but my stash, except for my stash of cottons is low, so I had to buy some more of those. But it's just
that's very impressive. Mm-hmm. And Ellen, you're doing like art fairs and markets and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
correct?
I do art fairs from May through November. I just finished the Fine Art of Fiber at the Botanic Gardens. Yay. So that was with the North Shore Guild. And I just find guilds are so important. Guilds and study groups therein. That's where you learn. That's where you grow. That's where you develop friendships, that like-minded people, as far as your field goes. And it's awesome. Joining your weave along, you learn little things
that was
with
fun.
that.
I always love having you. Always.
Yes. So, I just encourage, if anybody wants to learn, just jump right in and join a guild and, do what I did, get the flavor of and take a class. There's so many, there weren't places for me to take classes when I learned in Houston. So, but now there are places you can go and take classes, like Three Moons in Chesterton. Let's give them a plug.
Woohoo! Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. And thank you, Chris, because you're a fabulous teacher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, and I think part of what is so wonderful is that, you and I both live in the Chicagoland area, and we're very fortunate to have so many. Is there 4 guilds, 5 guilds in the Chicagoland area? Easy?
5 that I know of.
Yeah. And you would, if anyone knows about the guilds, Ellen's like, check. I have all these. Yes.
Well, it's true. When I'm doing the art shows and people are saying, "Oh, I've always wanted to learn," I said, "Where do you live? Here's where you can go."
Nice.
I have a resource list available for people.
Right. And you're exactly right. A guild is such a great resource for that kind of thing.
And sure. I feel like even by doing art shows, I'm educating people on how their clothing is made.
I love that.
Where are these items, how they're done. And even though mine are one of a kind and, not the run of the mill, you can't go to Walmart or Kohl's and buy one.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. I love that.
And fair trade is a whole different subject. So we won't go there.
Yeah. as we get up on our soapbox. And yes,
Yes, that's one of my
same
soapboxes.
right? I do the same thing. Exactly. That's what happens when you're passionate about it, though, for sure,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I love that. So I know that you mentioned working with hand dyed. Do you have a tip that you could share with
Yeah.
with
One
my
of the
community
things
here
that
about
I
working with
do,
hand dyed?
okay, when you're working with a hand painted warp, mostly it's kind of stripy when you lay it all out. I don't like that. So
Oh,
I don't like that. So when I warp back to front.
okay.
So there's two ways to warp, as you know, because you do
Yep.
front to back.
Yep.
So when I have it on the back beam ready to go be wound on, I will take threads and pull them so that they're not all stripy. Sometimes I'll end up with little stripes in the warp instead, but
Okay.
still they're very, it makes it more flowy.
So
Sometimes I'll do
Yep.
it to where it'll come out more of a V.
Oh, so you intentionally
type
make
of
it
thing.
irregular. Is that what you're
I
saying?
intentionally make it irregular.
Oh, I love that.
And sometimes they'll throw in 2 painted warps
Mhm.
and do both of them that way.
Like at the same time, like
at the
at
same
width?
time, I'll thread
Oh.
2 warps together.
Oh, wow.
And that works especially well when you're doing an echo weave or a gin weave.
Yeah, I love that.
And
How
makes
cool.
it a
What
whole
is
lot.
gin weave? I don't know that one.
Gin is the old 7th century Chinese term for turn tackete, which is
Wow.
another weave structure. Yes.
Look at you. So is it just G-I-N, gin, like the drink?
J-I-N.
Oh, J-I-N. Oh, thank
Yes.
you. I can see me putting that in the search and being like, no, there's no.
Yeah, a little gin and tonic on the side doesn't hurt. But don't be threading your loom at the same time.
No. We always promote sober weaving, folks. That is
Right.
always
Yes.
we
You can have it afterwards as your treat.
have a little nip later after you're done.
Getting through the threading.
I love that. That's a great tip though, Ellen. I like that it doesn't look so kind of planned, that it's intentionally, it makes it more interesting, doesn't it?
Yes. And I don't like things always symmetrical. I like the asymmetrical and the little bit different. It makes it more one of a kind. I mean, 2 people can use the same painted warp and every person comes out with it different. You can be given the same box of crayons and everybody's going to paint a different picture.
I love that. See, you're such a philosopher. That's awesome. Well, and when you see Ellen's work, it always has that it has a very organic look, which I think is hard to do when you're a weaver, because everything is, we're very kind of
lineal.
Right. Yeah. It's very structured. It's very kind of, things are square and whatever. So it's hard to get organic look. And I love the way you do that with painted warps and just your style of weaving. It always has this kind of flowy nature to it.
Oh, thank you. And I just use an 8 harness manual loom. Like you've got the 4 harness there. Mine's an 8 harness. Yeah. And the only computer I use is I will use my software, weaving software to help plan a project. And I can pre-play with colors, a little bit if I want to. Usually I just pull and put them together.
Right. Typically use the software more for like the pattern though. Is that typically
for the draft, finding out how many treadles I need, how many heddles I need, so that I can divide my loom up equally, that kind of thing.
Yep,
and
I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very good. All right. Well, I thought we would wrap things up with a little rapid fire questions for us.
Uh-oh, here we go.
They're always so fun. Now you already inadvertently answered one for me. So we'll get
you can skip that one then.
We can skip that one. Exactly. All right, Ellen. If you had to live with one fiber for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Silk.
Nice. What is your favorite loom?
It's my 8 harness shacked looms. It's a standard, the 45-inch wide.
Love it.
I can do narrow. Yep. Good and sturdy.
That. Right. Okay. So this is my next question. Back to front or front to back? She already answered that. She's a back to front girl. Excellent. Yep. What is your go-to weaving resource, whether it be a book or online, or if you have questions, where do you go?
My go-to resource, my books,
Love it.
plural. I
Yeah,
have I have
right.
so many books for inspiration, for technique, I'm a bookaholic as well as a yarnaholic.
I love that.
So
That's why you're my people, Ellen. That is why, for sure. And last question, why is weaving good for you?
weaving is good for you because it is mentally challenging because of the math involved, and all your pre-planning has to be very precise and exact. And then it's creatively challenging because if you put the wrong colors together, you could end up with mud. And who wants
Oh, so
mud?
true. So true.
Kids,
I've made
kids
the mud.
and dogs can play in mud, but we don't want to weave it.
That's a great line. Yes. Yeah, that's so true.
So
Fabulous. Well, let people know, how can people find you? Because we want them to be, stalking you online, in person, however they can.
I
So
would love that. I would love that.
Yes,
I'm on
yes.
Instagram and Facebook as Threadings Handwoven.
Okay.
And then my website is threadingshandwovendesigns.com.
Excellent.
And if you sign up for my emails, you get a special treat.
Woohoo! We all want a special treat. And while she doesn't have her shows laid out for next year, you want to get on her email list because she'll keep you posted on where you can see her in person too, which is always a treat for sure. So
thank you.
excellent. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I'm so glad that you were my first guest in my little interview series, and setting the bar pretty high, my friend.
Oh, well, it's been a pleasure. Just,
we always have a good time.
Oh,
right?
We always do.
We
always do.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. How cool is she? I just love her. She is just an incredible artist, incredible person. Yeah, we love some Ellen. I hope you enjoyed this first installment of A Handwoven Interview. My thought is I'll kind of sprinkle them throughout the regular calendar, and we can all kind of expand our horizons and meet some other weavers that are doing some very cool things, because there's a lot of them out there. So if you have suggestions for other folks that you would like to see interviewed, just drop me a line. I am always up for meeting some new people. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful week. Happy weaving.